I'm Helga Lozano. I'm a realtor with Remax Grant. This is my story. I am from Barranquilla, Colombia. I graduated from college as an architect, and when I started looking for a job, I noticed that it was very difficult for me. It had not been that hard when I was a student. So I decided to come to the US to learn English and learn design and drafting aided by computers. It was becoming popular at the time, so I decided that if I learned that, I could become my own boss, so I wouldn't have to go ask for employment anywhere. But God had different plans for me, so I ended up staying. So it's been 30 years. I miss a lot. My whole family is still there. My mom lives there, the food, and then also, I think the happiness. We're happy people. We're always dancing, we're always celebrating things. So that's one of the things that I miss, my carnival. Barranquilla is very popular for having this very distinctive breeze during Christmas. And so we knew by the end of November that Christmas was coming because the wind changed. And so I knew Santa was coming. For us was baby Jesus, the one who brought the presents. So we knew, and it was just something that people started changing. Everybody was happy, everybody was like in a different mood. So I remember that, the smell of new toys, unbelievable. I was really impressed with the engineering of the bridges. I couldn't believe that so many highways and roads could just get crossed and become this spider web, because it was just unbelievable to me how high they were, and all I could think was, I hope I never have to drive here. And I've been here now for 27 years. I have always been a very independent person, and I have never been afraid of anything. I have a lot of faith in God, and I know that I'm one of His precious children. So I decided to come all by myself, and I was living with a lady that my mom knew, that was like my grandma. She would take care of me, she would check how I was and all that. So I came to live with them. And like I said, I was ready to learn things to go back. But then once I started living here, I decided that this country had a lot to offer. And I decided to take advantage of that. I used to work for an engineering company. I started as a drafter, and I ended up being the supervisor for the CAD design and drafting department. And as I was going up in my position, I found out that it was a lot of time away from my family. And at the time I had 2 little boys, 4 and 5, and that was taking way too much time away from them. And I decided that I needed to find something that I could do so I could spend more time with them. And my husband suggested that I looked into real estate. And I told him that I could never do that because I could not sell anything for the life of me. And he actually told me, he said, Helga, you are not going to sell anything. You're just going to assist people. You are just going to give service to people. And so I started thinking about it, and I said, you know what, I'm going to try it. So I was working from Monday through Friday, and then going to school for real estate for Saturdays and Sundays from 8 in the morning to 6 in the afternoon. So it took me about 2.5 months to finish the classes. Then I took my exam and I passed it, so I got my license. And I talked to my boss and I told him, I said, you know, I want you to lay me off because I have my license as a realtor. And he said, oh, no, Helga, we are not going to do that. So I begged him and begged him. And on December 19th of 2003, I was laid off, and I sold my very first house on January 2nd of 2004. So I knew this was for me. I think it did, and especially for my clients, because once I sold my first house, they continue to recommend me to other friends and family, and so that's how I started. my whole clientele is actually referred. So I think they probably smell the new toy, you know, when they started working with me. I hope. Different people. I have clients from all over the world, and it's funny how I learn every day something. Even, you know, from little kids, they love to talk to me, and they tell me stories, and then I go home, and then I tell it to my husband and to my kids, and I go, you know, so-and-so told me that they do this for Christmas, or they do this for this holiday, or it's just different people all the time, and I like that. I like that. As a realtor, I can help you find your home to buy, to lease. I can also assist you in the sale of that, and I can also assist you in commercial properties. I got my certification as a specialist in international properties, so I can now list properties from overseas into our program, and I can help them sell here, as well as helping people from here find properties overseas. I think my secret is being me. I don't go with them because I'm going to make the commission. I go with them because I want to be part of that moment. And I think they feel it. There have been times where I make a lot of, you know, good commissions, but there are some other times where we don't get paid much. But I still treat them like they are my $1 million buyer or my $1 million seller. And I have clientele, you know, sometimes they just need to sell their $90,000 home, or I have some other ones that they are buying their $1.5 million home, but they are all the same to me, because I just love to see that face when we sign those papers, and I just love to be part of that moment. I think the most common mistake is start looking for a house without having an approval. The first thing I do when they call me is ask them if they have been pre-approved or not. They need to talk to a financial institution or to a bank that tells them how much home they can buy. Because I don't like taking them out to see homes. They fall in love with the house and then they find out that they cannot purchase it, because that's a big heartache. So heartbreak. So I don't do that. The minute they call me, I try to educate them and tell them what are the steps, and the very first one is to find out if they are pre-approved or not. It was a new construction because I represent people buying new homes or resale homes, and it was a new home, and it took 4 months to build it. So it took me 4 months to earn the commission, but I was so excited because I think because of my background in architecture, I was really interested on where is the dining going to be, or does it have functionality? Because that's one of the things that I do when I have a client, and I tell them from the get-going, I tell them, you know, you might think that I'm too outspoken, or I'm gonna be telling you things, but this bedroom is not functional. So they look at me like, what? I go, yeah, because look at the way you are gonna put your bed, look at the way the door is. And so I use my knowledge in architecture, in design, to help them do that. So I do remember that first house. The builder made a mistake, and instead of building it in the lot that my client had picked, they built it in the corner. So I told my client, no, don't get discouraged. You know, you're gonna have more garden, you're gonna have more yard, you're gonna have more this. And he looked at me, he goes, you think? And I go, yeah. So we worked together, and he was excited, he was so happy, and he kept the house for a long time until he bought the second one, and the third one always with me. So I do remember that. And he reminds me all the time, I was your very first client. I said, thank you so much for the opportunity. Honesty, sensitivity toward people. There's no reason to hurt people, to move up, or to try to take the easiest way just because that way you can make the money, or because if it is not with honesty. We have shown them how important they are to us. We have loved them. It's very, very important. So to me, the love we feel for them, showing them that hard work pays off, and there's no reason to go through life just hurting people. They are very, very caring, very considerate. So we have two good kids. They are 22 and 23. They're about to graduate from college, and we have never had any problems with them. I mean, they're kids, but we have never felt like, what did we do? They felt love, and I think we feel it back from them too, and that's very important. From my Barranquilla, it will be La Pollera Colorada. It will be La Piragua. These are songs that were written and by native composers, and they were they mean a lot to us in folklore, memories. And I'm a person that sings a lot. I sing in my car. I sing every time I have the chance. Sometimes I have to bite my tongue because I'm with people, and if I hear a song, I want to sing it. But there are so many songs. I have great memories from when I was a little girl, because my dad loved music. And every Saturday and Sunday, he would get up very, very early. And at the time, it was not DVDs or CDs, it was the big records. And he would put it in his play thing that he had. And I would love to sit down and see how the little lever would come up, touch the record would come down, and the music would start playing. So I learned so many of those songs, and so I have a lot. It's great memories. And then in English, I think The Wind Beneath My Wings, that Bette Midler sings, and she's one of my favorite, as it is Celine Dion. And I also like Bridge Over Troubled Waters. I think it's a wonderful, beautiful song. My dad died back in 1999. He died of cancer, and I have the best memories. Every time I think of him, I have to smile. He would never said no to us, or we would never get in trouble with him. He would just look at us and say, just wait, your mom's gonna talk to you. So she was the one that would take care of whatever mischief we had committed. But he was a very giving person. He loved to help people. He loved history. He would make notes, and he would have been a great historian. He would talk to you about airplanes or cars and the makers, and he would talk to anybody. He was a great guy. And I really miss him. I would tell him how much I love you, how much I love him, and I would give him the biggest hug and hold him for a long time. I think he will be proud, and but I would love to hear from him. Although sometimes I feel it in my heart, but I think I would just tell him how much I love him. He's still my dad.